Hello and welcome to Trojans Live. But first, it's the head coach, Clay Helton, now 2-0 on the season. And, Coach, why don't you start by telling us about the road trip? How did everything go logistically? I mean, I know things are very different from what a typical road trip would be.
Yeah, proud of our kids. Really appreciative of our university for how well they treat us. What an unbelievably safe environment that they've provided us, from getting the biggest plane possibly imagined, having the kids have their own room at the hotel. It's different, like I said the other week, there's no more team meals. When you get to the hotel, you're straight to your room with your food. Very limited meeting wise. You do all your work here before you go. You get in at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you just get into your room and going to bed, basically. So it is a little bit different trip. I loved how our kids handled it. They handled it like pros, and we came back healthy and safe. So very, very well done by Joseph Wood, our chief of staff, and his logistics team. And the university, they did a tremendous job of taking care of us.
Coach, I talked about it 2 weeks in. We're kind of in the full swing of some football now. We're getting tape. We're getting film to watch. We're breaking it down. After 2 weeks, what do you think of your team? What does it say about them and the way they've been able to execute in pressure situations?
Yeah, I think that there's been a lot of positives that came out of last game, and there's still some areas of growth. I thought we improved in certain areas, starting, defensively. I know you love this. We wanted more pressure on the quarterback. Yeah. We wanted to get him on the ground, and we go from 1 sack in the first game to in that. We won't limit turnovers. We go forwards in the first to 0. We wanted to be able to continue to sustain the run game and be at that 170 plus mark. And we do it the second straight week at 173 yards, and then you add about 320 passing, and you look at another 500-yard day. There are still some areas of growth for us. Anytime you're down in the red zone 8 times, you expect 50-plus points to end up with 34 points. There's some efficiency that we got to do better there. And third downs, I thought we could do a little bit better efficiency-wise on third down. As far as the poise that you mentioned down the stretch, I've been doing it a long time. I thought our veteran leadership really showed up. You think of Keaton, 8 of 12, 114 yards versus Arizona State last 2 drives, and then this week the last 2 drives, 13 of 15, 144 yards and a touchdown pass, and the big playmakers came alive. Whether it was Drake London in the first game or Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4 catches on that last drive. So I thought our veteran leadership and our experience and our maturity showed up late.
Yeah, you bring up, you've been so proficient in the 2-minute drive or the 4-minute drive in a couple cases. And naturally in those situations, the game situation dictates that the tempo gets a little bit faster in that spot. And Keaton has really found a rhythm. Is there anything you take from that? I mean, does it make you look at the rest of the game and say, hey, maybe Keaton is better in this spot? Or is it situational and, maybe the defense changes a little bit too?
No, I just think, we are a no-huddle team. We are a tempo team. I think the kids in those moments, we practice it so much, it doesn't feel like it's a new situation for them, both because we've done it in training camp a ton, plus it's the nature of our offense. We're always fast tempo. We're always getting to the next play. So I think our kids are pretty comfortable in that situation. Now, I love when you look at their maturity of what they did. We always say in the middle of the field, get the first down. On the sideline, get out of bounds. Those drops, Amon-Ra catches Galka. He gets what's there. He gets out. All of a sudden, Brew catches a dig. He pushes, instead of trying to dance around, going loud, he pushes it forward, gets the first down. The ability to stop the clock in those situations save you timeouts, and they were needed. To be honest with you, with 33 seconds left and you're on the 8-yard line and you have 2 timeouts in your pocket still, because of the efficiency and the decision-making the kids made, allowed them to call a run, in that situation, even though there's 33 seconds left, 2 timeouts. And so credit to our kids. I thought they, from a situational mastery standpoint, did a very nice job.
Coach, from my standpoint, it looked like the game could have maybe turned in that third quarter. You guys had some good drives, just couldn't capitalize in the end and finish off those drives.
Mhm.
What are the answers there on that in that third quarter to get the ball in the end zone? Is it an execution thing? Is it
Mhm. Mhm.
misassignments? What's going on
Yeah.
to not get you guys into the end zone that third quarter?
Yeah, we were sitting there 8 times in the red zone. I mean, that's a lot of times in the red zone. You hope you look up at 50 plus points when you have 8 times, but we ended up at 34. One, we got set back off 2 penalties, back-to-back penalties that set us back. We had a missed field goal that was there. Just a execution down there that we can do better at. I know we will be that we will do better. But you know what really was a strong point in that third quarter, and I talked to the team about it. We're playing great team football right now. We're playing off each other. When we had that lull in the third quarter, if you remember, our defense really stepped up 2 big 3 and outs. In that third quarter to really set the tide and keep that thing even. And then all of a sudden, what happens at the end of the game? Defense gives up a touchdown. What's the offense do? That's right back, scores for it. Gives up another touchdown. What's the offense do? Minute 19 left, goes right back down and scores. So from a team standpoint, we're really lifting each other up right now.
It seemed like the offensive line took a step forward. There were some early in the game, some interior pressures, but as the game wore on, Keaton had a lot of time. You also were able to run the ball effectively. But, the one guy I want you to single out is your left tackle. I mean, Sean hates it when I do this. They've started grading offensive linemen individually. Companies like PFF, College do it. And Sean says, ridiculous to talk about offensive linemen as individuals. They are a unit. With that said, all the rankings have Elijah as one of the elite left tackles in the country. And, maybe you take it for granted because we know he's such a good player, but he was such a good player at guard. To all of a sudden kick out and play on that island and play at that level is awfully impressive.
Yeah, it's the reason he came back. He wanted to compete. He wanted to show everybody that he's one of the premier offensive linemen in the country. I think he's showing that. I would challenge anybody that's playing right now as far as the level that he is playing at. I think he can compete with anybody in the country. The productiveness that he's having with the guys that are playing, and that's why he came back here. He wanted to win a championship with his brothers. He wanted to be able to show himself at that premier elite status. And compete to be a first-round draft pick. And mercy, when you look at the first 2 games and the type of person and competitor he is, he's going to be one of those first-day picks. There's no question.
Coach, you talked a little bit about the defense already, but talk about that first half. Looks like there was a lot of subs going in. You had some injuries, some dehydration issues. What was that first half getting, how to get that thing going? And then the second half, the adjustments you guys made to slow down Grant Gunnell with his legs and him making some plays.
Yeah, really, it came on us quick, Sean. I'll be honest with you. All of a sudden, we look up, EA's out, Drake's getting an IV. Talanoa gets re-aggravates a deep thigh bruise, and it was time for other kids to be able to step up and get their opportunity, and that's getting there. It's a while to be. He's really worked hard and got in there, got a big sack. Chase Williams gives us 40 really solid plays coming in at safety and nickel. Max Williams gets his opportunity in the dime package. They ran a lot of 10 personnel, so he gets a ton of plays and comes up with a big sack. So other guys got their opportunity. In the second half, I thought we did a lot better job on third down. When you look at the first half, we were on Arizona to be 17 third down, and it was 5, 10, 11, 13, 9. And so there were 43 plays at halftime. That's a lot of plays. Then you look at the second half, and they go 0 of 5, and I thought that was huge. And you know what T.O. I thought did a really nice job of is as you saw the game go on, even mixing up some he has one package that's a really an athletic, with Hunter on one side, Drake on the other, Nick Figueroa inside, that could really chase down and flush the quarterback. And that's what happened. Drake was able to get that sack at the end out of that package. So some nice change up by T.O. and some really a lot more effective on third downs in the second half.
I want to get into this week, but we still had a couple, I think, topics maybe from last week we want to get to. And there was one name I wanted to bring up, there's some people in sports, positions in sports, where the less you're talking about them, the better they're doing. And cornerback can be that way sometimes. And I feel like we haven't talked about Elijah Griffin because no one throws the ball at Elijah Griffin.
Yeah.
But that seems to me because he is really locking down his side.
Yeah, he's doing a terrific job. I really think both kids are, between him and Chris, and ITS is mixing in about 15 to 17 snaps a game. But, T.O.'s playing a lot of man coverage, a lot of press man coverage. They challenged OG with the first play of the game, tried to slip a slant route in there, and he gets his hand on the ball, and it was almost a pick on the first play of the game. He's playing at an extremely high level. I love what Dante is doing with the corners right now. They are so much, they've seen so much progress, over their time with him, and is just doing an amazing job. And OG's got a very bright future in this game, and he's really competing at a very high level and accepting some really good coaching from Dante.
Coach, last one from about last week for me is, you look at Keaton's performance and he's got all the numbers and it looks good. And you get, and he's able to, in the clutch, he's delivering the ball and it looks great. I think I asked you after the game, what do you see now after you watch the tape a little bit, get to break down and see what you from your quarterback?
Yeah, you know what I really like about him right now is his decision making. I know I think we all remember a game last year with a really young quarterback goes to BYU, and sees some zone coverage, drop 8 coverages, a lot similar to what we saw in this game, and forced some balls. As a matter of fact, 3 interceptions in that game, in a close game, and all of a sudden you lose that game. In the last 2 weeks, the kid has checked the ball down 17 times. Which and I'll give you the second to last drive. If you remember, he checks the ball down on a 2nd and 10 to Vavai on the right sideline, where Vavai stiff arms a guy, gets 15. That's having trust in your players. That's not forcing the ball. It's keeping the ball alive, and all of a sudden we have an explosive play off a check down. So he's done that 17 times in 2 games. I love his decision making. Obviously, he's one of the more accurate passers in the country. Back-to-back years, he's over 70% completion ratio. But right now, you look at, and probably my most proud thing is he's got a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio right now, and I think that's going to even continue to grow. So I see a lot more maturity from him this year, and really some really nice decision making. And at the end of the day, as you know, Sean, I mean, great quarterbacks come through in the clutch, and for back-to-back weeks, I don't know if there's been a better quarterback in the last 2 minutes of a game than that kid.
Well, Coach, the schedule this week says at Utah, and really Utah is one in recent years that we've begun to circle. I mean, we really played some great games against Utah, and they have become a top challenger for Pac-12 South supremacy with you. And we have not won in Salt Lake City since back in 2012. So it has been a while since back you were the QB coach back then. It's not the same. There won't be any fans, which probably makes it a little bit easier. And we don't even know who's playing on their team. I mean, how do you go into a game? As you mentioned, I guess it helps that at least you know the coordinators. But how do you figure out personnel in a week where, they haven't played yet this season, they had a lot of starters turnover from last year, and you have no idea who is healthy on that roster? Yeah,
it's the same MO that we've had for the past couple of weeks, but we do have at least, scheme and schematics and structure of offense and defense. You miss those personnel matchups. You miss, maybe where there's a weakness on their defense. You miss maybe a great player on their defense that you need to slide to, a great rusher or a chip with a back. So those personnel things are the things that will come up in this game that are kind of the unknowns. The thing that I think we've done a good job of, as far as Graham especially, is being able to adapt within game and change some things. They changed a run scheme that we were doing with one of our one-back power plays this past week, and changed a little bit of the fundamentals of it, and all of a sudden it created two explosive runs, one by Marquise and one by Steven. So it's the ability to adapt too. This is a great opportunity, like you said. I mean, the home team over the last 6 years has won the contest, and Kyle's never lost a home opener in his stint at Utah. So this is a great challenge for us. It's a great opportunity. As we know, it's really been us or them for the Pac-12 South. And so this has become a great game and a very important game year in and year out to see who takes the Pac-12 South.
Coach, you mentioned the ability to adapt. We've seen in the Pac-12 last week, UCLA had to adapt, and Cal had to adapt the last minute and play on a Sunday. Utah, has been a hot spot for coronavirus, and so we don't know going into this. How do you prepare for this kind of week, not knowing the future, possibly game against Utah? People speculating maybe playing Colorado a week early. How do you get ready and get your team that ability to adapt?
Yeah, I told the kids today, let's control what we can control, and that's the preparation for Utah. From what I've heard, that they were able to practice today, and it's trending in the right direction for some. Hopefully, say our prayers that both teams stay healthy and stay safe, and we get this opportunity. The one thing that you have learned in this situation you have to have the ability to adapt, and our kids just want to play. I mean, we've said anytime, any place, anywhere, anybody, just to have the opportunity to play. So if we need to adapt, we will. I was really proud of the league last week for being proactive and really finding a way to allow Cal and UCLA to play and actually.
Coach, are you ready to put that 2-day game plan in though? That's a quick one. That's a quick one, Coach. What you got?
Well, the good thing that we do is having the extra help around here. We break down all our opponents each and every week, so at least we have the breakdowns and the cut-ups ready if that was to happen. But I was proud for Cal and UCLA. I text Chip and Coach Wilcox, and man, just so happy for them that their kids got the opportunity. And if that comes and they ask us to go play someplace else, we're ready and we would love to.
Put the ball down and play it in the parking lot, Jordan.
That's right.
All right, last one for me. You mentioned health. It did seem like you were pretty banged up in that game. How did you come out of it? And then Brandon Peely, another guy we certainly have our eye on in a game that could be really physical at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, we're hoping to get Brandon back soon. I'll have more feedback tomorrow, to be honest with you. Did not do anything with him today. Brett Nealon did a little bit more today. We'll see how that goes through the week. Obviously EA will be a question mark and going through concussion protocol as well as a leg bruise. So we've got some bumps and bruises that we got to get healed from. I should have a better feel towards the end of the week, but nothing right now other than EA that could hold him out. And hopefully, I thought Justin did a nice job coming in for the last 2 games and really did a nice job, and he's ready to go again. Definitely Brandon is a force and another big man that we could use against a team that's going to probably, play some 2 tight ends and run the football. It'd be nice to have another big man.
And how about Raymond Scott? Sean was giving me a hard time during the broadcast because I got all fired up about Raymond Scott. He's quietly hasn't done a whole lot. He got in there the first play, you blitzed him up the A gap, and he destroyed the running back. That got me going a little bit. And Sean he told me to settle down a little bit, but I was fired up for him.
I'm going to tell you what, I could not be any happier for that young man. He's been waiting for the opportunity to contribute, was wanted to play safety, went back there, and then we had some injuries at linebacker. Extremely unselfish, came in and said, Coach, I'll help in any way I can. Over the last couple of weeks has learned the position in T.O.'s system. And then to get in there and to get a big sack on the day, that's a kid that's put a lot of work in, and to have a chance to contribute and contribute in a big way, man, I couldn't be any happier for a kid.
All right, Coach. Well, we will talk to you after, theoretically, the Utah game. If not, maybe whoever you play this week. We just hope you play somebody. We'll be happy just to continue watching USC football. Thank you, as always, for joining us.